Good morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. I hope everybody's over their Thanksgiving food coma. We have a lot to cover, you guys. It's just amazing. You take one day off and the articles just pile up and pile up. So let's just dive in and get there, shall we? Let's go. All right, so I'm going to start off with Steph the Altar Nerd today. I know, it's shocking, right? So you guys remember when I put up this picture of myself and Steph and Taz when we met in the UK? And of course, there's Steph with Andy in Montecito. Well, Christopher Boozy put up this tweet and basically notice at the bottom, the one in the middle, right? He was talking about Steph. I love this. She has created a whole line of products called the one in the middle. I love her. So you can get a coffee cup, you can get a t-shirt, you can get all this merchandise, the one in the middle. All right. So you can get that from her channel. The link is on her channel, Steph the Altar Nerd. Now, one more little story for you. Most of you know my father passed away, 8-9 years ago from Alzheimer's. My mother passed away on Thanksgiving, by the way, several years ago. I've been toting around some boxes of hers. So now that we're in the new house, I opened up a box and I found this, what you see above. It was a book written by my father in the 70s that he never got around to publishing. So I published it. He was a great proponent for children. He was all about special needs children. He worked with children that were deaf, blind, multi-handicapped, cerebral palsy. It was his life's work. So the book is up for sale on Amazon. The link is in the description box. Those of you who don't know, the body language guy designed the front cover art. He's just amazing. And number two, people are confused by the name on the book. My father had a pen name because he was also an artist and he used to sign his artwork D. Rossi. So we decided to use that name for the book. So get yourself one for Christmas. It's a great kid's book. All right, let's move on now to the royals. We're going to start with Queen Camila. We know that as soon as the royal visit was over, she went and held a reception for the Booker Prize Foundation at Clarence House. She once again was wearing a Fiona Clare dress. This one was in a beautiful blue color. So she had guests and past winners and several authors that were, according to the article, shortlisted for the Booker Prize. So she looked very happy, probably because she was coming off the back of a very successful royal visit. You know, she said something in her speech which really got me. She said, and I'm quoting, "As I have always said, reading is an escapism. Whatever is happening in your life and you feel it is difficult to cope with, you can pick up a book and just go off into another world." That is absolutely true. This prize started in 1969, and it's considered to be a most significant award for best sustained work of fiction written in English. Very interesting. By the way, the winner gets £50,000, and the 6 authors that are shortlisted are each given £2,500. All right, very nice. And I have to point this out. I know this makes me petty, but the girl next to Camilla in the lemon dress, I wonder if Megan's going to take that as she's supporting her and send her a basket of lemons. Let's move on to Princess Anne now. She went to St. Leonard's, which is a company in East Sussex, which was awarded an award by the king earlier this year. This place, Focus SB, started trading in 1979, and it is a British manufacturer of electrical accessories. And the award that they won was the King's Award for Enterprise for International Trade. How wonderful is that? They won that award in April. All right, let's move on, but continuing with Princess Anne. Then the next day, Anne went to St. John's Ambulance, where she helped out with the Youth Achievers event, which was held at the Priory Church. She's so hardworking. All right, after that, Princess Anne went to the Portsmouth Naval Base and opened the Alfred School of Military Music. Now, the building used to be used as a military detention center in the 1800s, but they've been using it for band services, according to this article, since 1991. And for the last 18 months, they've redone the entire school. What I found interesting is, according to the article, when they were refurbishing the building, they found all this contraband, cigarettes, books, metal polish, graffiti dating back to 1864. And they're going to take all of these things that they found and they're going to display them. I just think that's the kind of stuff I find cool. Loving that uniform on her. Next up, still with Anne, she went and opened a new school in Pembrokeshire, Wales. Then Princess Anne went to a ceremony to celebrate the year's recipients of the Merchant Navy Medal for Meritorious Service. I'm telling you, this woman never stops. After this, some information came out about her husband, Sir Tim Lawrence. Apparently, while he was in Gibraltar with Anne last week, he went to the Royal Navy Gibraltar Squadron and took a visit there. I think that's wonderful. As usual, they held back the information as to not to overshadow other events. Love it. All right, let's move on now. Let's move on to William now. He hosted, oh my goodness, His Highness Sayyid Fayazin bin Haytham Al Said of Oman. Whew. Continuing on with Prince William, he was in an army uniform. He was in Salisbury because, remember, he was made the colonel-in-chief of the 1st Battalion, the Mercian Regiment, and he was visiting the regiment for the first time. When he arrived, he was received by General Ian Cobb, colonel of the regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Grant Brown, the commanding officer, and Glenn Miller, the regimental sergeant major. This was his first chance to get a really good introduction to this regiment because he just got the appointment in August and he's never visited this regiment before, obviously. Now, he met service personnel from different departments. He went to see the armored infantry work that the regiment carries out. And just as an FYI, according to this article, since it was founded in 2007, they've been deployed on more than 10 operational tours. Anyway, Prince William climbed into what is called in the article a warrior armored fighting vehicle, and the 1st Battalion did an attack exercise on the Salisbury Plain, and he got to, watch and see what it is that they do and how they do it. Then he sat down for the obligatory photos that always seem to follow afterwards. Looking good there. All right, let's move on to Prince Edward now. We know that he's in Australia. He's continuing handing out Duke of Edinburgh awards. So we're moving on. And what he's done was on the 22nd, he attended a lunch for the Duke of Edinburgh International Awards supporters in Australia, and he delivered a speech. Next, Edward attended a lunch that was to help with the launch of a new online award assessors platform that's among the award centers. Now, also on the 23rd of November, while still in Australia, in Sydney, Edward went to visit the NSW State Emergency Services. And while he was there, he met with junior members, he met with emergency services volunteers, and he spoke to them about their services and their experience with that RFS. Very nice, Edward. Now, on Tuesday evening, he went to a celebration of 150 guests. They were celebrating the recognition of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award, and they celebrated the supporters and their contributions. And Edward was welcomed to the Parliament of New South Wales. After all of this, Edward flew off and landed in Indonesia and was received at the airport by the King's ambassador to the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Dominic Jermy. Now, he then was taken to a local school that is a British school there in Indonesia, and they call it the pitch. I'm guessing that means for us in America, that is the field. So he was taken out to the field, and there were a bunch of kids out there that were playing football, which I believe for us is soccer. It's so hard to try to translate back and forth. But he appeared to give them some tips during their soccer training or football training, whatever you want to call it. And then afterwards, later on in the day, he went and gave a speech during award presentations while he was up at the podium. Looking good, Edward. Very good. I believe this is his last stop. Moving on. Let's move on to Catherine now, because on Friday, she went to a place called Sebi's Corner, which is in Barnet in northwest London. And it is a baby bank that the article says gives a safety net to families in need of food and clothing in Barnet, Hertfordshire, and London. They have midwives, health visitors, teachers who refer the families to them, and they try to get to the most vulnerable children. Now, Catherine showed up with a book that is the favorite of her children. It's called The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark. I do believe she did a little video thing on that. You guys remember that? I thought it was nice. But anyway, they're aware of the cost of living crisis, and the families who were just getting by are now really struggling, and they can't make ends meet. And the woman who runs this place said that Catherine had obviously done her research. She knew what she was doing. And she said Catherine is aware that she's privileged, but she's using her privilege to improve people's lives. And it's really special that someone who comes from her place in society and does that. And she said she's obviously very passionate about childhood education, and she knows what she's doing. There was a lot of talk about removing the stigma about using a baby bank. And Catherine also sat down and spoke with a lot of the parents, which, that's exactly it. She didn't talk about any struggles of herself. She always thinking of others and trying to use her platform to help others. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for letting us know everything that she was wearing, including that absolutely gorgeous jacket. Moving on. We're going to go now to King Charles, who met with Dr. Mohammed Faisal, who is the High Commissioner for the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. He also met with Yazin El Oed, who is the ambassador from the Tunisian Republic, and his wife. He also met with Nathan Obed, who is, here we go, the Inuit Tapirilt Kanatami president. Ooh, that's a mouthful. All right, I had to do this story, I'm sorry. Netflix gave $11 million to a director named Carl Rinsch, R-I-N-S-C-H. And it was supposed to be used for his science fiction series. And instead, he gambled the money. He used it for crypto. He did all kinds of things with the money he wasn't supposed to do. And so now Netflix is demanding its money back. Yeah. Good luck on that. Oh my God. Next up, for anybody from Hollywood, apparently there's a store there named Kitson, Kitson. It's a very famous store. It's iconic, okay? Well, they've decided to take aim at Harry and Meghan for their hypocrisy. These pictures are all over their Robertson Boulevard store. Moving on. Articles are now coming out about Meghan Markle and the fact that she's doing all of these outings by herself, because when you get down to it, they have nothing left to sell. And that's absolutely correct. We all know that Meghan was hoping to get into Hollywood, to get her big break that she never had. But it's coming out now that a lot of Hollywood executives think that the couple has totally blown it. And the only reason that they want to get back with the family is because they need more material. They have been cut off. They have nothing left to sell. There's nothing left. Their connection to the royal family is only the titles. And I find it interesting that Harry and Meghan are talking about colonialism, but yet they won't let go of those titles. And now it's being pointed out that they have totally killed any chance of their children going in as working royals. Now, of course, they're going to say, we would never want them there. They'd be in a fishbowl. They'd be this, they'd be that. But yet, remember, Meghan wanted those titles for her children. And it's very obvious from the Oprah show, she was upset that her children didn't get prince and princess from the very beginning. Remember what she said? They're not titled like other grandchildren. Right? So now they're putting out things we want to return for Christmas. But I agree with this article. It smacks of desperation. They're desperate. Their empire is crumbling. their, value is dropping while the royal family's value is rising through the roof. And as the royal connection is being severed, their currency is being killed. So now I completely agree. Meghan's probably in panic mode, which is why you're now hearing the articles about Meghan telling Harry, you need to fix this, you need to try to get back in with the family, which is why Harry called and acknowledged his father's birthday for the first time in how many years? People are calling what they did pathetic. And one person said it's like a school disco where if you couldn't ask a girl to dance because you weren't brave enough, you'd say, oh, my mate fancies you. You know what I mean? The news didn't come directly from Harry and Meghan. Instead, it came from a source close to them because it's desperation. This is not the way to do things. Maybe they should invite the king to California. It's nice to see you for Christmas. Why don't you come in? You know what I'm saying? But no, they won't do that. It's childish what they're doing. Their entire thing is childish. I agree. The article says, if you wanted the rumors to have more legitimacy, then you should have invited the king and queen to California to give the rumors more legitimacy. Not that the king and queen would ever come to California. You know what I'm saying? But to have it put out by friends because you can't speak for yourself, it's just, yeah, I agree. It's kind of pathetic. Now, don't forget that on Sunday, the next video is going to come out of our European trip. We're up to days 5 and 6, and we're going to put all that up for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already hit the button, double check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.